I thought I'd start with just a few words about the cube and kind of the nature of the space, and kind of get into how these projects develop and how our studio visit and things resulted in the show you see in the cube. So the cube here is a project space. So I encourage the production of new work and experimentation in artist practices. We provide a project fee to get these projects going, and through curatorial research, seeing shows, meeting artists, these projects develop. We currently do 3 a year. I met Nasim, I believe, a little more than 2 years ago at the Kelowna Art Gallery, seeing a show there, and then kind of following up here and there, seeing some of your UBCO MFA work, which I believe was at Lake Country.
Yes.
Yeah, and then finally getting around to a studio visit, which we did in Kelowna. And if I remember correctly, we started with looking at drawings, a lot of drawings, and I think I saw versions of the meal sculpture.
Yeah.
And then kind of figuring out that we had a direction to go and work with for a project in the cube. And then following that up with your show at the Alternator,
Yes.
which I believe
This
this is
one.
a still from.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
seeing
one.
these videos underwater, and then really figuring out kind of those last steps to have the show in the cube. So part of what I really enjoy about the cube projects is so many of these things, we have this space in mind for the work, and we really push to have kind of ambitious projects happen in there. So if you haven't been in, there is a raised floor, there's an octagon in the middle, and there's a lot of work put into that by Matthew Tremblay and Henry Murphy, our install techs, and it's really great to see these kind of projects happen and come together after kind of talking about them for so long. So I'll let you take it from here, Nasim.
Thank you. Yep, thank you so much, Craig. Thank you everyone for being here, and a special thanks to Kamloops Art Gallery for giving me this time to share my work. I would like to start with sharing a few works that influenced me and my practice over the years. First, I'm going to start with the 6 persimmons. This drawing has been a major influence on my practice since my undergraduate years. When I spent a lot of time observing this work, I was interested in the repetition, order, and diversity. And each persimmon is distinct, and their relationship shift across the composition. And the different gray tonalities was the thing that I continue to seek in my drawing, installation, and also video arts. And on the right side is the Stalker movie, a movie by Andrei Tarkovsky. In the movie, the stalker is a guide who leads others into the zone. And the zone is a forbidden and an unpredictable place that many believe they can fulfill their deepest wishes. And the particular frame stayed with me so strongly that I kept it pinned on my studio wall a couple years. And his work is like treating every frame like a painting, and it's quiet, patient, and kind of like unresolved tension in his work. And the zone with its strangeness and silence and sense of uncertainty has become a space I return to in my practice a lot. And I incorporate the repetition of forms and elements to create a sense of rhythm and movement. And by repeating an element in an installation, I draw attention to certain forms and texture and explore their possibilities. And my focus lies in creating sculptures and installation that explore the subject of impermanence and fragility, I'm creating fragile installation that appears as if they could collapse at any moment. And the elements like basil seeds, water, coconut shells, pine needles exist for a limited time. And the ephemeral nature of my work is integral to its meaning. And in my work, I try to cultivate mistake and surprises, precariousness, and connect with the material by touching and smelling to find its potential. And I usually document the process. This is actually the process of the working, it's not the final work. And the different stages of my work, it emphasized the importance of the certain kind of work that I am working on. So, the next project that I'm going to talk about, the title is Protoplast. And this is one of the projects that I did at the university with pine needle. This is the first project that I started incorporating olfactory in my work, and everyone at the university were talking about the smell of the pine needles. I started collecting the pine needles at the university, and it was all around my studio, and that's why when they talk about the sense of the pine needles, I started searching about olfactory art, reading about different artists who are working with olfactory art, and created a few works that I'm going to talk about. I created a few works with pine needles, and that I'm going to talk about later. And this project was Protoplast. It's an installation I did at Theatre at the Gallery in Colombo, Sri Lanka in 2020. And it featured 8 translucent balloons, and all of them filled with water and basil seeds. And they were connected with clear tubing to each other. And it was kind of a time-based installation. And day by day, the balloons turn to different gray tonality. It depends on the number of the amount of the basil seeds inside them. The one with more basil seed inside turn to darker gray, and the one with less basil seeds stay lighter. And the clear tubing filled with water and basil seed and is arranged in a way that makes the direct reference to an organism and functioning structure. It speaks to organization and a type of system of exchange. The seed's potential for growth and regeneration connect them to the natural process, further emphasizing the piece's organic quality. And by incorporating basil seeds and water in the tubing, the artwork become kind of a living, breathing organism that is in a constant state of flow. Those are also the blue drawing over there on the wall that you can see.
Would you find the seeds, do they actually flow between these
while
objects?
I was working on it, it was flowing, and then at some point they stayed in their way, and sometimes they were moving. But in another work, I used a generator that moves the basil seed in the installation. That one was moving, and when the visitor were inside the gallery, they could see the movement of the basil seed inside the tubing.
And what's the significance of basil seeds particularly?
Basil is the basil is the name of a female name in Iran. The translation is Reyhan. I'm going to talk in detail about it in the next, but it's related to the concept of the women and the thing that they are together and they swell together when they upon contact with water. Yeah. So by incorporating basil seeds and water in the tubing, and the artwork itself, it's kind of like breathing organism. And the title was protoplast, and the protoplast itself refers to a plant cells with the cell wall removed. And they are in the condition of instability, and they continually breaking down to a certain extent. The balloon itself are also vulnerable to the environment, and there was a constant fear that the balloon may burst at any moment, and one of them actually burst in the opening, and this wasn't planned. But it was, and it was so shocking for everyone, and yeah, and but it was exactly in the way that I was meant to show the uncertain situation that people are facing in my home country, Iran, an unpredictable and uncertain situation that we are facing. This is the detail of the tubing, and yeah, this is the time that the balloon burst, yeah. And I wanted to use the vulnerability of the balloons to make the visitor feel the fear of being in the vulnerable situation, and I chose that one and I wish to convey the unstable and unpredictable by this one. But everyone was like waiting for the next one to burst, and it was like kind of a discussion and talking in the opening about what's going to happen. It is exactly the same way that we have that situation in Iran. Is it going to be a war tomorrow or not, or what's going to happen in this case and that case, and that sort of kind of thing that we face. And this is the question that you asked. I chose basil seeds to work with because of their texture and plasticity. In Farsi, the word for basil is rayhan, which is also a common female name. And so basil seeds and the gelatin mass they create upon contact with water are embodying a female kinship network. I associate the way basil seeds swell twice their size and bond together upon contacting water. And as a representative of misogynistic fear surrounding the contagious nature of women's drive for freedom. If one woman is fighting for it, she might infect the other women around her with the same idea. This is the project that I work with, the Pine Needle. Say Her Name is the title of the show that I had at Fino Art Gallery. And the show focused on the unrest in Iran occurring in response to the murder of Gina Amini, 22-year-old woman killed in Tehran by the morality police and for improperly wearing hijab. During the show, a boundary made the gallery front entrance inaccessible. I created a barrier out of pine needles to divide the interior space from the exterior, and visitors had to use the smaller door to enter the gallery. And communication failure was the theme of this installation, which dominated the entrance of the gallery. The fragile pine needle wall could evoke as the barrier that an oppressive authority imposed on its people, since it was never a structure in a way that could be sturdy enough to last. The wall was gradually collapsing under its own weight over the duration of the show. The fact that the wall couldn't sustain itself was something that happened naturally in the exhibition, one that might speak to the broader struggle of how authoritarian power is working very hard to sustain itself, yet is slowly collapsing under the weight of its own system. On the right side is the video that I showed in Kelowna Art Gallery, the first work that you saw in that gallery from me. And the title of this work is Zurkhane, and which the translation is House of Strength. This is the start of the project that I currently have in the pit. And I used just the soundtrack is related to this gym, and I am in the video. I am repeatedly smearing my face with and then cleaning it of basil seeds, as a traditional drum music play in the background. And this music is normally played in Zurkhane as a live music, and that gym is the same gym that I now have in the pit. It's the gym that only men can enter and participate in their activities. This is some detail of the video, and I'm going to show the video briefly so you can see. At the end, it's going to be same like this frame, and the face is completely clean, and it's the reverse kind of. I made the video reverse, so from the all the frames are going to be like each other, and all of them are going to be clean. So there is an old belief that women are not purified enough to enter Zurkhane space because of the inherent corruption of womanhood makes them undeserving the title of like heroes or champions. And through the repetitive act of cleaning my face of basil seed, positioned here to represent Iranian womanhood, I am questioning women's eligibility and their right of presence. So I'm going to start talking about my drawings. So this project, the name of this project was Pressure Underwater, and mostly showing people underwater, and in some works a group of people are sitting or doing different kind of activities like writing or just watching. And when I came to Kelowna, I influenced by the blue and green color of Okanagan Lake, and I started this project. And it was kind of like a daily practice doing the drawings, and it was always there for the last 5 years. And the name shows that how can people get used to the difficult situation, and those situations can seem normal to them. These are some of the details of those drawings. Some of them are on the wall now, some of them not. This is the installation that we have on the cube wall now. So I usually use my drawing as a reference to do my video art, and so I decided to use the water in my videos with getting influenced by these drawings, and that's why I started shooting my first video underwater. And the name of this project was What Seems Simple, and I showed in Alternator Center for the Art. And this work I stage ordinary kind of activities like brushing my hair and tying my shoelace, making measurements and that sort of thing underwater. And I practiced a lot to make this activity seems normal, and especially my eye impression, because at the beginning my eyes was like closed. I couldn't make it normal. It was like so difficult to seem to be like outside water, doing the way that I am doing it in the outside of water. I was trying. That's why I am wearing clothes, not swimming bath, and shoes and everything. So I wanted to seem completely normal underwater, and so I'm going to show the video that speaks for itself, I guess.
I remember seeing this video with you at the alternator.
Yeah.
Are you also weighted down so you can stay underwater, or?
I put something around my waist at the beginning. It didn't work, and I tried different things. So I tried to put my foot inside the sand, and also I did something else. Breathe out was the best one that I practiced. So I shouldn't have that amount of exhaling. Yeah. That. And sometimes on the chair or with the bicycle was the easiest one, because I was connected to that one, and and I was like. And the chair also was something that I could stay easier for a longer time. But exhaling is the best way, for me, was the best way after trying many different things. So, so I'm going to, I have a few words here. This work is proposing meditation on relativity. A single act can be seamless in one word and heavy in another. This is about the familiarity of endurance. It is about how hardship, when lived daily, become normalized, and how what should have been easy is instead performed under pressure. And I'm going to start with Zurkhane. And this is one of the oldest Zurkhane in Hamedan, west of Iran. And this project began with that video that I showed, the soundtrack. And that soundtrack made me search a little bit more about this gym, this traditional gym. And because the same live music is always playing. In Zurkhane, they always have live music, and the person who played that live music, they call it Morshed, and they are sitting in this corner of Zurkhane and playing drum, and while chanting for the performer and heroes to perform in the pit. And so that soundtrack pushed me to look deeper to Zurkhane itself, its architecture, its tools, smells, the way bodies move around it, and the gender rules that shape who is allowed to be present. And the more I researched, the more I realized that this is the space that I want to work on, and it holds the question about masculinity, ritual, power, absence, and it's also very strong visually. So that's why I decided to work on it more. And through a sculpture, video, and photography, I reimagine the Zurkhane space within the gallery as a more inclusive and diverse landscape, where all men engage in physical training accompanied by spiritual practices such as reading poetry and religious chant. And some characteristic of Zurkhane that I was thinking of and emphasizing in my work was symmetrical architecture, symmetrical decoration, as we see in this photo, and I did a lot in my sculpture. Those kind of symmetrical people who are standing in front of each other are all inspired by the symmetrical architecture that we see. In here, repetition of form, of course, and rosewater smell, music, sound, and the tools. And the next thing that I was thinking of was the short entrance. And the entrance to Zurkhane building is very short, that passerbys have to bend over. And this is a sign of humility and respect. This act serves as a symbol of the values and beliefs embodied by the Zurkhane. In this project that I have in the Cube and my previous show, I created a low entrance that requires the passerbys and viewer to pass carefully and in order to enter the gallery space. In this show, the entrance to the space serves as a threshold between the external world and the internal space. It is a point of transition where individuals leave behind the chaos and distraction of the outside world and enter a space of intentionality and focus. This work explores themes of inclusivity and diversity. And by creating the short entrance in the gallery space, I speak to a slight transgression executed in the transformation of the gallery space and attached expectation. I suggest a similar transgression taking place in an actual Zurkhane. I created a more open and inclusive relationship between the viewer and the work, encouraging a sense of ownership and agency. This is the previous one in Lake Country Art Gallery. It was in the back part of the gallery. And these are the tools that are used in Zurkhane. The one that are the symbol of Zurkhane is the top left, and they call meals. That one, kind of, the translation is going to be club. And this one is the shield, and the shield is kind of, the translation in Farsi is sang, and they are lying down on the floor and doing exercise with that one. This one is the bell using in the music, in the live kind of music. And the one on top is takht shana. It's a push-up board and used for different kind of push-up exercise. And I started working, making the tools here in Kelowna. I know that they sell some of them in Vancouver, but I wanted to create the tools myself out of wood, so use them as a positive to my sculpture, so then I can create them with a different material. So this is the first drawing that I created to see how much wood I need, and process. I'm going to show some of the process of creating this tools, and I put several kind of planks on top of each other, glue them, wait for 24 hours to dry, and clamps them together. And yeah, this is again the same from different angle. And then I work on this is my studio, and on the right, I put that one, after drawing, I put it on a lathe and work on, I'm going to show a short video. This is for the meal. And this one is the bell. The translation of this one is Zang, and it's hang within the reach of Morshed's hand. And when some of the heroes enter the Zurkhan space, they just make lots of sounds, so people know that some important people entering the space. So, and it used a lot in the live music. And usually it made out of brass or copper or metal, different kind of metal. I made this one out of copper, and I used a flat sheet and hammering it. And the top part I used lathe. Again, this is a video for the top part. That one is the push-up board that I made. And in the previous show, I put the wooden sculpture in the gallery, and so everyone who entered the gallery could use them and play with them while watching the performance of me working with the actual wooden tools. So it was kind of interactive, using the tools and doing the exercise in the gallery space. So, and this one is the wooden sculpture of the shields that I created the casting for them for the sugar sculpture later. So I used I started experimenting with different materials to find the one that is more appropriate for me, and I used different, I started working with soap, clear soap, wax and resin, and then I found this amazing material, isomalt sugar, which is a particular kind of sugar using for sculpture making. And I was looking for some kind of translucent kind of feature in my sculpture, and that's why I was trying different kind of translucent material. But for wax and soap, they were so opaque. That's why those ones weren't my first choice, and resin was so, kind of like toxic. So I decided to use something that is more related to my previous work, kind of and more organic. And then that's why I started with isomalt. And I'm going to talk about a little bit about isomalt, how I work with, and it must be heated and at a very high temperature, and it should be so fast working with it, because it's drying very fast, solidifying very fast, and you should find the right working temperature and texture required, and that when you're repeating testing whether to find that temperature and that feature that is working with the casting, because it's burned very fast, and the color change if you don't take it off the oven. So this is the first small meal that I made, and then I for the casting, and then I created this big two-part molds, and I created them with silicone, because the sugar is too hot. So the only material that works with it's silicone with that one. And so the reason that the concept that I was looking for some kind of translucent material was I wanted to portray the traditional image of masculinity in a different way. So because all of the Zurkhan's tools are out of wood or metal, and they are so rigid, and I was looking for something translucent, and to show that power can exist in a different way. And it's also the opposite kind of opposite of censorship and concealment, and the way they are concealing women's body. So I was looking for something that offer more translucent and which questioning the shape and the patriarchal system kind of expectation. And also the difference in the weight was something that was so interesting, because the sugar sculpture were much heavier than the wooden counterpart. And each of the mills that you see in the pit are 30 kilos. So those are so much heavier. The wooden one is mostly 12, but the big one is 30. Each of them are 30 kilos. And I bought lots of sugar. It was too expensive in Canada. I bought them from US. And yeah, the first time that I was, and there are very small packaging in Vancouver, but in US I could buy a very big pack, which was, but the weight is the weight difference between the sugar sculpture and the wooden counterpart become a metaphor for power that challenge what society usually expects. Because the sugar sculpture are heavier, they suggest a kind of a strength that goes beyond the traditional idea of masculinity. And this work challenges those expectations by showing that power can exist in unconventional ways. And the sugar, they can be seen as a form of power that doesn't depend on fitting into societal norms. I seek to confront the issue of the concealment of women's bodies, I mentioned that before, and the exclusion of women's presence in certain space. The sugar sculpture represents the Zurkhane space in Iran free of concealment. And this is the process of pouring sugar into the molds. And that's the big one, the big mills, and this one is for the shield. And this is in Lake Country Art Gallery, the mills and the shield out of sugar. And it was the video showing the background with working with different tools that I'm going to show in the next slides. And this is my performance out of water this time with the tools of Zurkhane. And this is the way that they are actually working in the pit with the shield. They are lying down and working with two shield, and sometimes as a solo and sometimes as a group kind of exercise they are doing it. So this is one of the performances that I did with shield. Video is with the club. So it's repeating like this, and the last one is the warm-up, spinning charkhidan. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about the smell of Zurkhane. There is a ceremonial kind of practice involved cleaning the tools and the different part of Zurkhane, such as the pit, sardam, where the murshid sit and play the music, and all the equipments, and they are scenting them and cleaning them with rose water. Actually, the process of cleaning is with the rose water. And this act serves as a purification process, showing the participant respect, the participant actually cleaning the Zurkhane. There is no particular person for cleaning, so they are doing it themselves. And the Zurkhane is a place where tradition and history are deeply connected, and where the use of rose water serves as a powerful reminder of the cultural and religious roots of this practice. And the rose water has traditionally associated with religious places like mosques. It's not just used in Zurkhane. When you enter a mosque, you can definitely smell and feel the sense of rose water. And the use of rose water in Zurkhane is an example of how a smell can carry cultural and historical significance, and how they can shape our perception of certain spaces and experiences. And in creation of Zurkhane space, I incorporated scents to create a sense of intimacy between the viewer and the space. And this approach allowed viewer to engage with a multisensory experience of Zurkhane space and reflect on how perception and sensory experiences come together. And this is the installation view of the previous show at Lake Country. And so I'm going to go to this one. I think we should talk about that.
Henry on the left, Matthew on the right, our prep team, install team, our leads. So the early days of this, we were talking about the lowered octagon. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, oh, well, it should like this or this deep. And then it's kind of like, okay, Matthew and Henry, can we do this in the cube? So we normally have about a week of install time to take down the previous show and put it up. Mm-hmm. So Matthew's really good at this, just like figuring out what needs to be done on short term, build some of it in the shop and bring some stuff in and figure out the step and everything. So
amazing
to see this come together. Mm-hmm. Was pretty cool during the week.
Yeah, they did amazing job. Yeah, thank you. And yeah, the pit is the heart of Zurkhane, where athletes traditionally perform, while surrounded by a spectator usually go sit around them and they're watching them. And I wanted to recreate the central architectural element because it's both a physical and symbolic space. And it became the foundation of the exhibition, bringing together the sculpture, video, drawing, sound, and sense, and inviting visitors to step into the work and experience it as an environment rather than just watching an artwork. They enter the artwork and walk through the artwork, and this is actually the artwork that you're walking on. And this is the video that I did underwater, and it shows me performing with the same tools, but this time is underwater and using the wooden clubs and shield. And I am adding the sound, 3 different sounds in this video. One of them is the underwater sound, and the other one is the soundtrack of drum and the bell of the music, live music. And the third one is my own sound that I'm chanting the numbers the numeric kind of from 1 to 50. And it's the exact way that Murshid is chanting in the Zulkhane, playing drum and starting from 1, 2, so they are, when they are performing, they count like the way that we are doing in a modern gym. So we count, for example, 40 kind of thing. I want to go for this one. So that's the way that they are chanting, but they in a rhythmic, completely rhythmic way. So they have the energy and they have the vibe to continue. And again, here I spent time practicing on my eyes, relaxed and natural. With the wooden tool was more challenging because we're going up to the surface of the water. So yeah, the previous one in the lake was easier because I was working with a different thing that were not wood. With the wooden tools, I didn't expect that's going to be that much challenge for performing. And yes, I guess, yeah, I have some photos, beautiful ones here. And this is the detail. Yep, that's everything, I guess.
I'd like to go back to the video here, because when we talked about this, I think I saw your show in November or October, and you hadn't shot this video yet for a May opening. So we're talking about, the first thing you came to me with was, do you think I can do this in Okanagan Lake?
I really love that to do it in the lake, yeah, but unfortunately, yeah.
And then you looked at the possibility of building some kind of aquarium or something, but then when you got this, to do it at the pool, we really, I think it was kind of a happy coincidence, but the blue of your drawings, the blue of the tiles, or maybe just the, and then we were, of course, painted the gallery.
Well, hazy blue,
Yeah, but you'd come back to this idea of kind of Persian tiles or Persian blue in tile work, and it just kind of seemed to fit so well with the pool. Is that a realization in choosing the pool, or is that just something later that?
It was later, because I was so happy with the previous video in the Okanagan, and the feedback that I received was like, because the visual that it adds to the video itself, the fishes were around me, the plants and everything. I was living with the fishes for 3 months. They were so relaxed around me, and it was so adding lots of visual kind of thing to the video without trying so hard. That's why when I started shooting the video in the pool, it was so difficult to make the visual better and make it, and then when I was showing it in the gallery, it was like with the peat, and inside the peat, those tiles that we have in the pool is exactly the same color that we have in the public traditional bathroom, and they have the same kind of peat, but filled with water. And it's a traditional one, and the traditional ones that they are not using them now. It's kind of like museum that people go and visit how the public bathroom were in the past, but it's exactly the same kind of tiles. That's why I was so happy that I did it in the pool, because of the cold weather, because in November, and after that I couldn't shoot in the Okanagan Lake. I was waiting for until April to do it again in the lake. At April, even now it's not that hot enough. I don't know, this year it was, because I was waiting a lot for the water to be a little bit warmer to jump in, but no, not in May, not in April, I couldn't go in the water. So, and I am happy that I did it in the pool, because the result is now working very well. And it's when I entered the space, it exactly reminds me the architecture of Iran architecture with blue, Persian blue and everything working well.
Can we go to the drawings, like all the drawings outside the exterior wall of the cube? Like that's really where a lot of our discussion started in studio. And like, obviously some of them are the meal exercise. If you look closely, not sure if it's on this frame, but I guess there's some animals up there. And then you have the other drawings of people doing things underwater, but also then the kind of spying figure. Can you just comment on the spying figure that
I'm
kind of
making
shows
a video
up
with that one because that one is one of my favorite kind of elements. That's why I created a scene underwater with the kind of that long binocular. It's kind of around. I have a series drawing that the name of that series is Bystanders, and it's for the people who are just watching and doing nothing. So it's around the condition that's happening and someone is always looking at them and details and doing, it's mostly around the concept of bystanders.
Okay.
That one, I don't have it, I have it here. Yeah, this one.
Yeah, well, let's open up to questions here as well.
I have two questions. One, it is my understanding that in many cultures, water has big significance, like baptism, purification. Indigenous, my understanding is water is like power. It's like the mother of all things, water. Is there significance for you beyond creating difficulty in these everyday tasks? Is there a significance about the water for you beyond creating difficulty?
When I started, because for the video, it was inspired with my drawing, so I have to think about why I started drawing under the water, and the reason that I started was first visually, to be honest, and then because when I start drawing, I don't think about the concept. I start drawing, and then I look at them and I see something, and then I, for this drawing, because it's part of a daily kind of thing, I started with black and white, and then this one, the cow, that's one of the first one that I did. So these, and the green color and blue color are mostly influenced by the Okanagan Lake, and but when I saw the people under, I was mostly thinking about the pressure.
Okay.
So not more.
So not a cultural significance around water.
Not that much, yeah.
Okay.
I was thinking mostly about the concept between around the people that are doing something, normal, but which is not normal to be underwater.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's lovely. And thank you. And the second question I had was through the process of physically enacting these movements, simple things underwater or the movements from the gym, were there surprises of insight that came to you? Like, was there anything that occurred to you through having physically acted out these motions that occurred to you that was a surprise?
For the first few weeks, it was mostly surprising because nothing was working. So,
Which is an interesting lesson.
Yeah.
Is it not?
Yeah. That's why I was going every week, and Saturday and Sunday. I'm working full time during the week. That's why I was working. I was going every Saturday and Sunday during the summer to shoot that 3 minutes video, and it was like for each one, maybe I did 20 times shooting just for a few seconds, and it didn't work. So it was full of unpredictable, surprising kind of thing that I didn't expect. And I taking everything heavy, and in the middle of I was thinking about making an aquarium, and it was too expensive, about 4,000 or 5,000. And then I thought maybe, oh no, I have the Okanagan beautiful lake, so let's go there. and I started shooting there. I take a very big table with me, which had the yellow one that you see in the middle of one of the, and that had a very big glass on top that I was going to use for that aquarium. I started writing on that glass. Lots of my shooting I didn't use in my final edit, and yeah, because it didn't work, and it yeah, it wasn't working with the whole concept. But yeah, it was lots of surprises. The surprising thing was that that red fish, and I know that it has a special name. That salmon in that September, they call it.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Like there's probably during September, it's probably during the salmon run, so
Yeah,
it's,
they are dying.
ready to spawn.
And their
Yeah.
nose changes,
Yeah.
and the color of them changes.
And I didn't know that red fish is it's actually in the process of dying.
Yes.
And that was one of the surprises that I received the feedback in the opening when I was showing it. There, people was like, "This is not accidental. That fish around you," and it was so coming around and just swimming around when I was shooting. And yeah, I like that, and I put it in one of the channel. Yeah, thank you for the
Thank you
question.
that.
Yeah. Yes.
A couple of questions. I think it was Craig who, at the beginning, said that you were awarded something, a prize from Iran.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking about how this work, I get a sense it would not be accepted in any gallery in Tehran because of the religious and political situation. Would that be the case? Would you struggle to get this work actually into Iran?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the question. So it's I haven't been to Iran in Iran for 5 years, and if it was 5 years ago, because of my clothing, I would never, and I don't have any scarf. I can never show that 5 years ago in any galleries. And I was showing my work, even my drawings without the women body, because we were drawing lots of nude kind of figurative painting, and I couldn't show them in the galleries in Tehran when I was showing my work. I was trying to not showing those, just the open studio. Yes, I could show in the open studio and sell my work, but in the galleries I couldn't show those kind of nude drawing in that period of time. And for this one without a scarf, now it's different because in the street we see lots of new generation, even in the real life, not just a video. New generation are going out. After the death of Gina Amini in 2022, it was an unrest, and after that they couldn't control the people because everyone was without a scarf. Because everyone, they can't put everyone in prison. When it is one or two, yeah, it's kind of like, okay, we arrest this one, 10 people here, 100 people from this city, 1,500 people from this city, we can put in prison. But when it becomes millions of people, you can't put them in prison. And it's now, when I see the pictures, that's why I don't know. When I see the pictures, I can't believe this is Tehran. I can't believe all the women are going out without a scarf. Maybe just some people who are connected to the government and their salaries depend on that scarf they have to wear in the television because their salaries again coming from the national TV. They have to wear the scarf in movies who are they want to show that people are still wearing a scarf, but if you see the videos coming out from the actual life, from actual people, no, they don't accept it anymore. And I'm so happy when you see that. When I came to Canada, I came with my scarf and with my manteau, they call it, it's a French word, manteau. And now I think when I go back, I don't need it anymore. So, and I think I can show this video that you asked, the one underwater without a scarf. I can show it in the gallery, and but previously, of course, not. But there are some very good director that they are doing their film without a scarf. All the films in Iran, to get the approval, they have to be, the women, even at home, the women they have to be with a scarf and with the proper hijab. But now there are many, if just a few directors are making their movies without a scarf. Yeah, and they are good movies. Yeah, very good movies.
And my other question is again a cultural question.
Mm-hmm.
When you did the thing with the clubs, and then you did the kind of the spinning dance thing,
Mm-hmm.
and you talked about the music and the chanting within the octagon,
Mm-hmm.
it reminded me of the whirling of the dervish,
Mm-hmm.
and I just wondered whether Sufism has any kind of place within Iran and within the Persian culture.
Yeah, Sufism, actually the Rumi, who was doing the Sufism a lot, so he was Iranian and he was doing a lot, and there are some group of dervish in Iran who is still doing the kind of Sufism, and there are there is a huge fan for Sufism as well. So yeah, and it's related to that kind of spinning, exactly.
Yeah, so when you put that spinning in,
Yeah.
you were actually sort of nodding towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. Any other questions?
I'm
Yes.
curious about the mirroring that you use. So you
Mhm.
see it here where there's the mirror, or the upside down
Mhm.
on top image, and then in your videos as well.
Yeah.
What's the significance of that?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So that one started again in my drawing. I had lots of mirroring kind of thing in my drawing. For example, a cat and the mirror, the reflection of it in the water. Or usually for these drawings, I had the kind of architecture of the Zulkhane was the first thing that I was thinking of. So that's why I have lots of photos creating with that mirroring, and there is like this or like left and right mirroring, and it's all about the architecture of Iran, architecture of Zulkhane, mosques, and yeah, I was trying to reflect that one. That was the point of it. And these are the drawing that I did with, this is the mirror kind of thing, the, what they call those kind of mirrors that have concave and convex, yeah. I was talking about, because this is an old project, I was talking about those kind of mirrors and how it comes. Actually, this is the exact same thing that happens in physics. That's the focal point, and 2F, this is 2 focal point, you might better know. And the reflection, when it's out of 2F, it's going to be exactly on the out of the focal point on the other side in the convex mirror kind of thing. And I have a lot of drawing with this kind of mirrors and showing the reflection of them in the other side. When it is, for example, between F and 2F, the reflection is going to be somewhere else. I don't know the physics now, I don't remember, but I was calculating and putting the drawings in different place of that F. So, yeah. Any questions anymore?
In your first video, you were underwater reading a book, apparently?
Yeah.
It was bubbling? Was that on purpose, or?
It wasn't Bible.
No, bubbling.
Bubbling. Oh, yeah, bubbling. I thought maybe you said sorry. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it happened something on, underwater. I was, it's part of the work that reading a book is one of the activity that I was thinking of. And the bubbles is happening under the water in my drawings and in my videos and also in the sculpture. So there are lots of them together.
So that was expected
Yeah,
from the binding or something, okay.
yeah, yeah. Actually, I like that. I really like the outcome of having that bubbles in the pool or underwater in the lake, because it adds kind of static to the work. I don't know. Yeah, it's not just a flat kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like in my drawings also I have those kind of thing happening, because when I do my drawings I use lots of texture, paper on paper, and it's again something that I don't know what is going to happen, and then I decide after I put the texture. And those bubbles also happen sometime in my drawings too, giving that texture, not bubbles. Yeah.
And bubbles can give you a hint of which way is up.
Yeah.
First seeing the video, I was quite sure if he was looking down at you in water or looking sideways in water.
Mm-hmm.
The second question was,
Yeah.
when you were underwater using the clubs, those were the wooden clubs,
Mm-hmm.
not
Yeah.
the heavier sugar ones that,
Yeah.
would they dissolve underwater or?
They dissolve.
They
Yeah.
Mhm.
The shield, they won't dissolve because I put a layer of resin on top to protect them, to not go, because it's a 5-month show. And that one is also from 3 years ago, and the meals, and they don't change because it's for a sculpture. But yeah, underwater I use the wooden one, not the sugar one, because it dissolves if I take the meals underwater. Yeah. The meals don't have any resin on top. Yeah.
Right, thank you very much for coming out. This is great. And please, you just have time to go revisit the show and investigate all the drawings.
Yeah.
So please do. Thank you again.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.